Hi, this is Andrew from Andrew's Gammill Northwest, and this video is about how to check and adjust the timing on your Gammill or Statler stitcher machine. Many times people are having some trouble with their stitching, and the question comes up, is my machine adjusted properly? And the only way to find that out is to check it. And so this little video should help you do just that. Now, I've prepared for the video by using a medium-sized screwdriver with a flat blade, and I've removed the needle plate, the 4 screws that hold it, and I've removed the bobbin case. You'll need to locate the timing gauge that came with your machine when you purchased it. If you don't have a timing gauge for your machine, you can go to our website, which is andrewsgammillnorthwest.com. Yeah, I don't think you can see that. And we will have them available for sale there. To start with, go ahead and remove the bobbin case from your machine, as well as the 4 screws that hold on the needle plate. That's going to expose the working parts of your machine. Now, what I'm going to do is, with the power to the machine off, I'm going to use the manual wheel on the front of the machine, and I'm going to turn it until the needle is all the way in the down position. So I'm going to turn until it's all the way down, and it starts to come back up, and I'll turn it back. Now, with the needle all the way down, what you're going to do is you're going to take this timing gauge and notice that it has a swing away part that's thinner, and that part needs to be on top. That part will be up. So I'm going to put it on the needle bar and gently tighten the nylon screw. It's a white plastic screw, and that is going to clamp onto the bar, and you should be able to see it there. Now I'm going to reach up to my thumb wheel, and I'm going to try to turn it back and forth. And you can see in the video, you see the sewing hook is rotating a little bit, and my needle bar is actually going up and down a little bit. That tells me I haven't got my clamp all the way up. So I'm going to stop, and I'm going to push it upwards and clamp it on there again. It's very important for an accurate result that the clamp be pushed all the way up. And if you look at here as I turn it back and forth, now I have much less movement. There still is going to be some, but you need to have it pushed up as high as you can get it, so that there's the very minimal amount of rocking when you turn the thumb wheel of the machine. With that set up as high as possible, now I'm going to take the little spacer here that's part of the tool, and I'll slide it out of the way. This is 3/32 of an inch thick. That means that now that I've slid that out of the way, I can turn the machine forward 3/32 of an inch, and as I do that, you can see that go up, and now the hook point is supposed to be directly behind the back side of the needle. The hook point is, let's see if I can get it in this video here. You can see it coming up right behind the needle. It's a sharp metal point, and it's supposed to be directly behind the needle. Now, this is very important. When I have the hook point directly behind the eye of the needle, or within 1 needle width distance in front of or behind, that is correct timing. You do not need to change that. It's just right. But what you do need to check is you need to check that the clearance between the needle and the hook is correct. The distance between the hook and the needle is supposed to be almost nothing. And you're not going to be able to see it in this video, but when I reach in here and touch the needle, touch the front of the needle, it moves backwards until it touches the hook, and it's not even a hair's breadth. You couldn't get a hair between the hook and the needle point. And this is very important. If you have any much gap there at all, you'll have skipped stitches and you'll have problems, and you'll need to adjust the distance of the hook to the needle to be closer. Now, how do you adjust it? You use the same flat bladed screwdriver that you used before in order to get the in order to get the needle plate screws off, what you're going to do is you're going to go through this hole right here, and if you look down in there, it helps to use a flashlight. You'll find there's 2 screws that hold this entire hook assembly to the machine. When you take those 2 screws loose, you're going to find that all of a sudden you can push the whole assembly back, forward, as well as rotating it. So don't take those screws loose unless you really do need to make an adjustment. If you do need to adjust the timing, go ahead and loosen the first screw, turn the machine until you can see the second screw and loosen that one. Go back through the step of putting on the gauge, sliding the arm out, the spacer arm, and raising it up so that you can get the correct distance of hook to needle, as well as the timing of being right behind the needle when it's raised up 3/32 of an inch. One more thing. With this done, there's one more thing that has to be correct before you put the machine back together, and that is the rocking finger timing. The rocking finger, actually we'll leave the timing alone and just talk about the distance. The rocking finger is what makes it possible for your machine to have perfect tension no matter which thread you use and no matter what speed you're going or what direction you're traveling. I'm going to raise my needle up so that I can show you how to set the rocking finger. I'm going to put my bobbin case in just for illustration purposes only. When your machine makes a stitch, there's a gap right here between this black finger and the silver inner raceway. And what happens when you take a stitch, I'm going to see if I can do this. I hope you don't get seasick watching the video. Okay, when you take a stitch, the needle comes down, carrying the thread with it. The hook comes behind the needle, catches that thread, except mine didn't because I held it in the wrong place. Let me try that again. Okay, needle goes down, hook comes, catches the thread, carries a loop of it all the way around the bobbin case. You can see it down here at the front. And at this critical moment right here, it comes through the gap between that black piece and the silver piece, and it brings your stitch to the top and sets it on the bottom of the fabric. Now, what are we talking about adjusting here? What we're talking about adjusting is this little screw right here. You reach it from underneath. You reach it from right here. The screwdriver goes like this, straight up, and it reaches that screw right there. You loosen the screw about a quarter turn. Now don't do it yet. I'm just telling you. You loosen the screw a quarter turn, and it allows you to move this little finger one way or the other. And we're talking hair's breadth adjustment here. But what that finger is supposed to do is it ever so slightly taps so that when the machine is going around and making the stitch, that there's a gap that opens up right at this moment, hang on, I can't see it, right at this moment right here, where the take-up lever on top of the machine is nearing the top of its stroke but hasn't got all the way there yet. This is opening a gap down here for the thread to come through. If it opens too far, it actually ends up closing the backside. If it doesn't open far enough, it causes trouble as well. So you loosen the screw and move that little finger down there in order to get more or less. And then when you go to tighten the screw, here's the key. Don't tighten it too tight. Medium snug is all you have to do. If you put it too tight, it actually puts a bind in the machine and you'll have trouble. So with that done, you are ready to stitch on the machine. In general, I like to give people the directions about timing so that they can confirm or deny whether they really do have a problem with the timing. In general, a machine will keep the proper timing for years, 10, 15, 20 years. The only time that it goes out of whack is if you have a needle break or some other sort of severe happening where thread's tangled up or something, and those would be a good reason for the machine to be knocked out of time. So I hope these directions are helpful to you for evaluating if your machine is out of adjustment. If you do need to schedule a service call for me to come out and work on your machine, go to andrewsgammillnorthwest.com. That's AndrewsGammillnorthwest.com. And we've got a link on there for a service request, and you can put in your name and address and phone number, and we will contact you to schedule it. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me or call. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.